I wouldn't say it's drama, just some like baseless accusations of people putting out interest checks for the sake of reserving colors. Is reserving colors, quote unquote, a big deal? Do you guys think it's a big deal to do that? Do you think it's not a big deal? Do you think people are just kind of claiming colors for the sake of it?
The sooner that you put the interest check live, the sooner vendors can see it. And like if you're doing an interest check without reaching the vendors first. So that was what happened with Nautilus Nightmares. I just set the interest check without contacting any vendor first. And then I thought, where could we run? And then I thought maybe drop, because GMK Nautilus was the one in there too. And the problem with GMK Nautilus Nightmares, like the 16 months, was because there was another set planned to be in drop that was also in the similar color palette with
Inspired.
greens. Yeah. And drop can't put two GMK sets that look similar back to back, so one of them have to be pushed back, and that was Nautilus.
But what do you think? What do you think about the general idea that someone might just put an interest check out there, never do anything about it, and then maybe a year and a half later, someone comes out with a very similar, if not almost the same, interest check, but then they're like, I have a vendor lined up. I don't care if you claimed you did this a year ago. You haven't done anything. Who's in the wrong and who's in the right, if there is a right and wrong in that situation?
That's a very difficult question. You could say it's a bit situational, like how close are they really? Do they draw from the same source, for example? Like are there sets that imitate vintage keyboards?
You had the Space Cadet one.
Yeah, that actually happened to me, sort of, yeah. When I posted the interest check for GMK Space Cadet, I quickly learned that Living Speed Bump was actually already working on a version of Space Cadet with Originative, and they had renders done from GMK, and yeah, I wasn't aware of it at the time. So that was a bit awkward. But we resolved that issue, and yeah, then it happened through Mastro, but there wasn't any drama. So, I mean, when people do interest checks, there's always someone who brings up, oh, I've seen this before, and then like digs out a year-old interest check or so. But I don't recall a set where this was really a big issue. Like, are you referring to a certain? Because you said earlier there was some drama last year or so. Do you have some examples?
I wouldn't say it was like, that's why I said it was kind of not really drama, because all the examples are kind of people on their second time or the second set that seemed very similar to the first. The person who put out the first set's like, well, I put that out a year ago, and then it was just like a back and forth of, well, you haven't done anything with it, and I want to do something with it, but I put it out a year ago. It's just kind of like a almost childish back and forth, where because there's so many more designers nowadays, I could see it possibly becoming an issue. But from what I hear from you, it sounds like most of these things are usually taken care of behind the scenes, or at least
from what I've seen so far. Yeah, they tend to be resolved. Yeah.
One way, yeah, they get resolved behind the scenes, and also that's why the interest check is kind of dying. Now interest checks is someone already approaches a vendor with an idea and pitches it, and there's not really an interest check. Like those interest checks that you're talking about that are 1 year or 2 year old that never got to the group buy, that's because the interest check failed, which is something nowadays we don't see. We see very little interest checks, almost none that fail. That they just have when you see the interest check, it already has a vendor lined up, it already has been scheduled, so it's not really an interest check.
Yeah,
And,
that's definitely true for a lot of the bigger ones.
and not that big ones, even small ones. Nowadays, it's like that. The community is big enough, and there are many vendors that want sets. I would say. So yes, reserving key sets is not like if you put it out there. No, there's not that issue anymore. I guess there are. I have an example of a set that. Okay, you will have to dig down, and I hope you get some images of this set. If not, I can provide some. But there was one set done in 2014 or 2015, I don't know, which was GMK or GMK Belafonte Terminal. So this set never took off. I'm checking. It was August 2014, August 11, 2014. This set never took off, and the designer was busy, and then he just left it there. And then I even approached him. I told him maybe I can take these sets, but as you know, I get busy with my own stuff, and it gets very difficult to do multiple sets at a time. So a year later, and in parallel, without knowing, or 2 years later, there was a set, an XDA set, an interest check for a set in XDA, which was also inspired by the Life Aquatic movie, and I think it was XDA Belafonte. And Belafonte. Let me check also how it was. Yeah, XDA Belafonte. It never ran. It never ran to. Like there wasn't an interest by some of the vendors that had lined it up or had already checked and never ran up. And now the Belafonte terminal set, the designer approached me like 3 weeks ago or something, and he's working on the set and making progress. And between 2014 and 2019, there was another set that was Belafonte, and it was similar color palette and everything, and it got resolved behind the scenes. He wasn't reserving the spot; it was just the interest check failed, and maybe we get to see it in 2021.
Yeah, I think I don't think it's an issue where people post an interest check just for the sake of reserving that colorway and then like not doing anything with it, and I don't really see that happening, or like at least not intentional, because people get busy all the time and lose interest themselves. Like they see there's not enough interest, so I don't think when that sort of stuff happens that it's intentional. And
I can also think about another set. I think GMK Lux, maybe.
Lux.
Yeah, Lux with.
That overlapped with an SA version, was it?
I thought
it was original. Yeah, it was supposed to be SA Lux, and then there was SA Strong Spirit, and then Beaming Robot Design decided to change to GMK Lux, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
And then I picked the set like 4 months ago or so, and told him, "Yeah, I will be running the interest check again for it, one of these days."
One of these.
Soon.
One of these days. Soon. TM.
2023. This is going to keep being pushed out.